we have to take the fourth and fifth state of matter also. So that also we will study today. है ना? बड़ी interesting है. Fourth and fifth state of matter are very interesting. Okay. So yes, BEC. So let's see here. So we are starting with the fourth state of matter, that is plasma, and in this you will find that plasma is neither solid nor liquid nor gas. It is something else. Its characteristic is something else. So let's see what is plasma now. See, here's the plasma. Always remember that plasma is a mixture of ions and electrons, right? Mixture of ions and electrons. Now, how it is formed? It is formed when energy is supplied to a gaseous atom so that its electrons, they move out from the atom. And then we get a mixture of electrons and ions. And the ions are also cations, which are attracted towards the cathode. Or we can say which are negative, which are positively charged. Say, for example, let us take a example of an atom. In this atom, there is a nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there is one proton. Or we can say there is one positive charge. Let's take this once again. Here, one proton is there inside it. And outside the nucleus, there is one electron. Now, if energy is supplied to it, then this electron will move out. And then only that electron will be left with one proton and electron over here. So here becomes a mixture of ion and an electron. Now this ion will be having a positive charge. So a positively charged ion plus electron. These are the two substances which are present in plasma. A very good example of plasma is the fluorescent light bulbs. You must have seen fluorescent light bulbs. Inside fluorescent light bulbs, there is gas. As soon as electricity is passed through it due to the electrical energy, the atoms, their ions are removed from it and the atoms are converted to ions. So the mixture of ions and the mixture of electrons, they are formed inside the fluorescent bulb and the plasma is formed, and that plasma emits light, right? Now, one more very important thing about plasma is that on the whole, plasma is neutral. On the whole, plasma is neutral. Now, how is it neutral on the whole? Because we all know that the atom is neutral, right? So in the atom, there is a nucleus in which, say, for example, there are two protons. Two protons means plus 1. So plus 2 charge. And with that, there will be 2 electrons also. minus 1. So 2 minus charge. So atom is neutral, right? 2 plus charge and 2 minus charge. Now, if you remove electron from this atom will have charge plus 1. How? Because the protons will have plus 2 charge. And now, at present, there will be negative 1 charge. So, on the whole, how much of charge is left in the atom? 1 positive charge. Okay? And with that, there is electron also outside. So, the ion is there. There is 1 cation and there is 1 electron. Let us see how this will be the resultant. 2 protons and 1 electron plus 1 electron outside. So this mixture will be called as plasma, and on the whole plasma will be neutral. Very evident it is from this picture, from this diagram. Now the next, it is formed at a very high temperature. For example, on sun, in the core of the sun, it is made up of plasma. Okay? So there is very high temperature. At that temperature, plasma is formed, and this plasma is responsible for the light which is produced from the sun. Now you will question that in fluorescent light bulb, the temperature is not high. But beta, in the fluorescent light bulb, we are using electrical energy. So that energy is sufficient for the atoms to get ionized, to remove the electrons from the atoms. Now, because in the plasma there are charged particles, that is why they are affected by magnetic and electric fields. There are charged particles in plasma. Next, then there are certain substances, when they are heated, they can change to plasma. Now you will find very interesting examples in it. One example we have already talked about, and that example is related to the stars, or we can say the sun. I hope everyone knows that sun is also a star, right? So the next is when lightning occurs. Lightning jab hoti hai, at that time plasma is formed in the atmosphere. Then in the fluorescent night bulbs, in the neon sign boards which are used for advertising, in that also there is plasma. Then there is plasma screen TV. In that also plasma is used to make different colors and images. Then there is one thing which is called aurora, which is found in the North Pole area. Beautiful light is observed over there, and that beautiful light which is observed at North Pole is called aurora, and it is also due to the plasma. Okay? So how plasma is formed? A very simple question. Plasma is formed by putting some energy in it, either in the form of electricity or in the form of heat. What is plasma? Plasma is a mixture of ions and electrons. So now let's move to the next state of matter, that is Bose-Einstein condensate. Now there is a story behind it, a very nice story behind it. That story is related to an Indian scientist, that is Satyendra Bose. In 1925, he did some research on this state of matter, and he said that when any substance, any gas, it is super cooled. Super cooled means just above the absolute zero, means minus 273 degrees Celsius. This is called absolute zero. So if a substance is super cooled, at that time the particles of the substance lose their identity and they start behaving like a wave. They start behaving like a wave. You can imagine, just imagine the vapors of sodium. They are super cooled and they start behaving like a wave. They are not behaving like a particle. So this was, first of all, the research was done on the basis of the mathematical calculations, which was done by Satyendra Bose. And Satyendra Bose then sent his research papers to Einstein. He said to Einstein that you study it and then you publish my papers. And Einstein then, he studied about it and he found that Satyendra Bose is right. And then he published the papers of Satyendra Bose, and then that concept was told to the whole world. But you will be surprised to know that at that time, the people, the scientists, they were not able to achieve this thing. Means they were not able to achieve the formation of the condensate. That was possible only in 1995. So many years later, after this research. So how does it form? It forms when very dilute gases, remember this thing, very dilute gases. The gases should be very, very dilute. Then when these gases, which are very, very dilute, when they are cooled just above the sub-zero temperature, that means minus 273 degrees Celsius, then they start behaving like a condensate, and this has got a very high density, and it also behaves like a wave. Now, where it is used? It is used in the making of atomic clocks, right? So this is about the Bose-Einstein condensate. People are also thinking that if Bose-Einstein condensate is, they are able to make it, then they may be able to make superconductors. But at present, the Bose-Einstein condensate is used for only research purposes. Okay? So now let's see the comparison between the different states of matter and the fourth and fifth state also. So let's see this. See, solid, liquid gas and plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate. You all know lot of things about solid, liquid and gas. So we have just now studied about the plasma, and it is actually a combination of the ionized molecules and electrons. In this, Bose-Einstein condensate is when substances are very, very cold, means near absolute zero, as I told you, and the molecules are fixed and very dense. Now, what is the meaning of fixed? Actually, at the supercooled temperature, the kinetic energy of the particles, it decreases to absolutely nil. Because we all know that the lesser the temperature, the lesser will be the kinetic energy. Now, if the temperature is so less, naturally, the kinetic energy of the particles will be lost. Okay? So now, let's start with the next topic. After this, let's see what is the next topic. Here comes the next topic, that is evaporation. So let's talk about evaporation now. Evaporation. Beta, evaporation is a very simple phenomena of conversion of liquid to gas. When liquid changes to gaseous state. When a substance changes from its liquid to gaseous state, 1 minute, then it is called evaporation. But one thing you have to keep in your mind, that while this conversion is taking place, this conversion should take place at a temperature below boiling point. So the temperature should be less than boiling point for this conversion, less than boiling point. So when this conversion take place, it should take place at a temperature below boiling point. For example, very simple phenomena we can observe. Just take one glass of water and spill a little bit on floor. After some time, you will find that the water is not there. What has happened to this water? The water has converted to water vapors. But we all can see that it is not taking place at 100 degrees Celsius. It is taking place at a temperature below 100 degrees Celsius. That means below boiling point. It is taking place at room temperature. The room temperature may be 30, maybe 35, maybe 28. So when this conversion takes place at a temperature below boiling point, it is called evaporation. But when it is taking place at boiling point, then I hope you all know what is called. It is called vaporization or boiling. So the conversion is same, but the temperature in case of evaporation is less than boiling point. Okay? Now, how does it take place? Let us try to understand it. Actually, beta, all the molecules which are present in a liquid, they all have got kinetic energy, right? Everyone agrees with it. Because of that kinetic energy, only it moves, keep on moving around. So, that these molecules, among them, some have got high kinetic energy. Now, these particles which have got high kinetic energy, when they come to the surface, then they are lost in the atmosphere. Then they break the interparticle force of attraction between the liquid particles. Okay, their kinetic energy is so much that they can break free from the interparticle force of attraction, or they overcome the interparticle force of attraction and they convert into gaseous state. So this is the reason for evaporation. Keep this in your mind. This evaporation phenomena is a surface phenomena. It takes place from the surface, while vaporization is a bulk phenomena. Vaporization is a bulk phenomena. Means vaporization, in vaporization, the conversion of liquid to gas is very, very fast. Many particles, they gain energy and get changed into vapor state. But in case of evaporation, it is only the particles being lost or being converted into the vapor state from the surface, right? So we say that evaporation is a surface phenomena, while vaporization is a bulk phenomena. Now let us see few examples. Sometimes you must have observed that when you put the nail polish remover on your hand, or when you use nail polish remover to remove the nail polish, then you feel very cold. It gives a cooling effect. So why is it so? Let's find out the answer of this. Let's see what is the next topic. Keep this question in your mind. We will be discussing this question afterwards. Let's take the next topic today. That is the factors. Good. Right. So what are the factors which are affecting evaporation? It's very interesting and very simple also to understand. The factors which affect evaporation, they are, let's take this one by one. The factors which affect evaporation, they are, first of all, surface area. Surface area, higher the surface area, higher will be the evaporation process. Right. Now, here comes these factors one by one. See, large surface area. Evaporation will be more. Less surface area, evaporation will be less. Very simple to understand. Because evaporation is a surface phenomena, that is why less particles in this case are there on the surface. So less particles will get converted to vapors. But in this case, where the surface area is large, the more particles are there on the surface. So more particles will be lost to become vapors. Right? Now comes another factor. A very good example of large surface area and small surface area we can very easily understand. Keep the water in a cup and keep the water in a big plate, the same amount of water. You will find that in a plate, the water evaporates very fast. Right? Very, very simple to understand this phenomena. Now the next is the temperature. Higher the temperature, higher will be the evaporation. Like during the summers, it is very easy to dry the clothes. But during the winters, it is very, very difficult to dry the clothes. The clothes, they take a lot of time to get dried. So this proves that temperature increases the rate of evaporation. So we can say that evaporation is directly proportional to surface area. Right? Here, evaporation is directly proportional to temperature. It's very easy to understand the temperature. Higher the temperature, higher will be the kinetic energy of the particles. Higher the kinetic energy of the particles, the more they are going to convert to vapors. Simple to understand. The third one is humidity. Humidity. Higher the humidity, lesser will be the evaporation. So evaporation is inversely proportional to humidity. Very simple example to understand it. The example is, ask your mothers. It's so difficult to dry the clothes in the rainy season. But in the summer season, when the humidity is less, it is easy to dry the clothes. The clothes become dry very fast. Okay, so higher the humidity, less will be the evaporation, and this is known as inversely proportional. Okay, now comes the wind speed. The wind speed. See, if the wind speed is more, if the days are windy, then in that the clothes dry very fast. Yeah, if you want to dry the clothes even in the rainy season, you bring the clothes inside and dry it in fan. It becomes dry fast. So evaporation is directly proportional to wind speed. Right? Now what is the reason behind it? The reason behind it is that the wind carries away the particles far, and thus more particles get the space to become vapors. Right? Then in this case, what is the reason? When we talked about humidity, let's find out the reason behind it. The reason is that when the humidity is more, then the air is saturated with water particles. The water particles are more in the air. So the chances of more water particles or more vapors of any substance to get into the air, that becomes less because there is no space in the air to get those type of other vapors to be in the space. So this is about the factors which affect evaporation. Now let us move to the next topic. Let's see what is the next topic. The next topic is the cooling effect caused by evaporation. I have left you with one question. that when we put acetone on our hand, then why do we feel cool? It is because that on our hand, dekho, let's draw this over here. Say for example, this is our hand. I'm not drawing it very beautifully. And we have put the acetone over here, right? Now this acetone is in liquid state. What will happen after some time? It will vaporize. It will vaporize. But this conversion from the liquid state to vapor state, for that the liquid acetone needs energy. So this energy means the heat, means the latent heat. So it will require that latent heat to get converted to vapor state. So what will happen, that this energy will be taken by the liquid acetone from our hand, matlab from the surroundings. And this is why when the energy is lost from our hand, when the heat is lost from our hand, we will feel cool. So evaporation, that is why it makes us feel cool. Now the same is the case with that thing we have already discussed earlier. Yes, you are right. That when there is a glass filled with water, then because of latent heat, the water becomes cool by absorption of heat by the ice. So here we are talking about evaporation. Now let's see, we have seen one of the examples, acetone on hand. Now let's see earthen pot. How does the earthen pot cool down the water present in the earthen pot? Say for example, this is the earthen pot. Now in the earthen pot, there are holes. There are holes on the surface, right? Now there is water here inside it. Now what happens? From these holes, the water comes out on the surface of the earthen pot. And from here, this water, it evaporates, taking the heat from the earthen pot. Right? Earthen pot में से heat ले लेता है. And because of that, the water present in the earthen pot, the whole earthen pot, it becomes cool. ठीक है? Next is, why do we wear cotton clothes in summers? We wear cotton clothes in summers because these cotton clothes, they absorb our sweat. And sweat is what? Sweat is water. So when this water comes in contact with the atmosphere, the evaporation process occurs. And thus we feel cool. Okay, so now let's see another phenomena which is so very common during the summers, and that is the use of desert cooler. This one, desert cooler. इसका नाम देखो क्या है? Desert. I will repeat it. So desert cooler, its name is desert cooler, means it is more effective in the desert areas. Why more effective in the desert areas? Because in the desert area there is humidity in desert area is less. Humidity is less. So humidity is less means evaporation is more. Right? So in the desert areas, the evaporation process is used for cooling. And this is how the desert cooler functions. Let's see the function of desert cooler. Here comes the desert cooler. See, in the desert cooler, the hot air, it passes through the evaporative pad. This is the evaporative pad. In this evaporative pad, water is always dripping. And this water, which is present in this evaporative pad, it evaporates because of the hot air. When the hot air passes through it, it gives its energy to the water molecules and the water molecules evaporate. So this air, it now it has given its heat to the water and the water has evaporated. So this air now, when it enters, it will become cool because it has lost its heat. The water has absorbed its heat and the water has evaporated. So this whole evaporation process, it makes the hot air cool, and that cool air is then thrown into our room with the help of this blower. So this is how the desert cooler